once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.
In anticipation of our big fight coming up this Saturday, the 14th.
Christina,
already starting with me.
Respect.
Here we go again.
Started out wishing everybody buenos dias.
Buenos días a todos. Estoy Cristina y mi jefe, Bob. Gardy's going to take the translations from here because my Spanish isn't so good. But yeah, we have a great undercard and co-features planned for you this Saturday night from the T-Mobile Arena right here in Las Vegas. We were going to do an undercard, round table or whatnot, and Bob came up to me yesterday and said, look, Christina, we have a spectacular undercard. We have some very talented fighters, and they need to be up here on the stage and be seen and be present. So here we are, whatever the boss wants to do.
Right,
we will deliver as a team.
These are co-features, it's not an undercard. I mean that every one of these fights you're going to be hearing about, and a young man who will be on the show, one of our big stars, they all deserve main event status. All of these are significant fights, and I object strongly to you calling them undercard.
Okay, silly me. Everybody change your type, your font, everything right now. It's not, they're all 7 fights are co-features on Saturday night. All those co-features will be starting at 4:30 p.m. streaming live on ESPN Plus, 4:30 Pacific. And then the 3 main features, do you like that, Bob? The 3 main features will get started at 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus as well. So stay logged on for hours. You're gonna get your streaming money's worth, absolutely. So we have 3 fighters, 3 fights up here with all the fighters.
And the young fighter.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's going to go first.
We gotta go to our Gabe, yeah.
Yeah, so Bob, go ahead. What would you like to say about the fighters up here before we talk to them individually?
One thing we love to do at Top Rank is to take young kids from the get-go and build them into big stars. Like we're doing, you've seen with Oscar Valdez, Alberto Ramirez, with Teofimo Lopez, with Shakur Stevenson, who'll be fighting for a world title, Mick Conlon. We have always had a history of taking young stars and having them reach the top of boxing. And one of our bright young stars comes from Stockton, California area. Terrific young man. I think, let's see, how many he's had 7 professional fights, all victories. He's fighting an experienced fighter with 20 professional fights. So bring him up, Gabe Flores.
Gabe Flores. Give it up for Gabe Flores, everybody. Let's go. Stockton is in the building. Gabe, you're 14-0. You're getting an opportunity once again to fight in Las Vegas. I know that you and your team have worked very hard to put on great performances, and you seem to step your game up even more when you're on the big stage. So what can fans expect from you on this card on Saturday night?
Each fight I keep improving. We always learn from our mistakes. After every fight, we don't focus on what I did good. We focus on what I did bad so we can make sure we fix it every time. So I think that's why each time I step in the ring, I do better. And when the lights hit, I always react. So I'm always here.
You fought your last fight, the full 8 rounds. It was your first scheduled 8-rounder. You're back again in an 8-round fight. And each time, like you said, you seem to be improving. That grown man strength we've talked about has seemed to be developing very nicely. So with this fight coming up here, what should we be looking at in your second 8-rounder, and what do you know about your opponent?
I know he's he'll throw. He won't be there. He's not a shy fighter. He's gonna throw. And I'm ready for that. And that that's what I thrive for. That's what I really want. That's what I crave. So for me, I'm just gonna be in there, same me, just every time better improve, better IQ, everything poised, confident. I'm gonna let my hands fly.
I know every time you fight for your family, you fight for your city. Who in particular are you fighting for in this fight? Who are you dedicating this fight to?
I'm doing this fight to Tupac. Tomorrow, Friday, September 13th, will be his anniversary of passing away here in Vegas, and I was a big fan of him. So, this one will be dedicated to him, Tupac. I was a big fan.
You're gonna be walking out to maybe some Tupac. You're gonna give everybody an idea, maybe?
Not this time, but I sure will walk out to some Tupac sometime.
I know you will. I look forward to your walkouts every time. Go ahead, Bob.
No, continue with Gabe, and then I want to say a couple of things.
I think Gabe's. You good, Gabe?
I'm good.
All right.
All right, before Christina introduces the fighters, I want to say a couple of things. In these features, co-features, what we've tried to do is to bring back rivalries that people understand. Now, in one fight that we'll get to in a second, we have a great traditional rivalry that Mexican fans understand. We have a fighter from Mexico City fighting a fighter from northern Mexico, namely Tijuana. Now, that rivalry has existed in boxing for years, typified by the three great Morales-Barrera fights. Barrera being from Mexico City, and Morales, of course, from Tijuana. And then a second rivalry that everybody knows who has any attention to boxing is the great rivalry between Mexico and Puerto Rico. The Mexico-Puerto Rico fighter has been, the rivalry has been on the forefront. Oscar against Felix Trinidad, on and on. Mexico, Puerto Rico, great rivalry. We have that on this card. And finally, another great rivalry is Mexico against the Philippines. We've had it as recently as the great 4 fights between Manny Pacquiao and one Manuel Marquez. Great fights. Morales against Pacquiao. Mexico, Filipino, great rivalry, and that's one of the co-features. Take over, Christina.
Yes, sir. We're going to start with the first one that you mentioned, the Tijuana versus Mexico rivalry. We'll start with Jose Maria Cardenas. He's representing Tijuana. He is 17-4 with 14 knockouts. You're coming off the biggest win of your career, a spectacular knockout of the 2016 Olympian Antonio Vargas. What did you take away from that experience? Cardi's going to translate it for everybody.
Vienes de la pelea, de la victoria más importante de tu carrera ante un olímpico del 2016, Antonio Vargas. ¿Qué te llevas de esa experiencia?
Fue una pelea muy buena, dura, para la que me preparé a conciencia, porque sé que venían cosas importantes y pues aquí estamos y venimos a ganar.
That was a great fight. I prepared myself very well because of that, and we knew big things were coming, and we're here for that right now.
Yeah, big things are coming. He's fighting on a big card, and as Bob mentioned, Tijuana versus Mexico City. The two cities have the most world champions in all of Mexico. What does that rivalry mean to him?
Que cosas grandes vienen y estás en lo correcto porque estás aquí en una cartelera grande en Las Vegas. Hablando de la rivalidad Ciudad de México contra Tijuana, ¿qué significa esa pelea para ti con las ciudades con más campeones mexicanos?
Va a haber guerra en el ring porque dos mexicanos en el ring es espectáculo y pues venimos con todo. Va a ser una pelea muy dura y muy buena, pero yo me la voy a llevar.
It definitely would be a war, you know. Every time two Mexicans are in the ring, is a big show is promised, and I'm gonna take this fight.
He said every time two Mexicans in the ring, it's going to be a war. We've seen that time
Well,
and
we
time
know
again.
that.
That's why they're on the card, right?
Everybody
Yeah.
knows that.
Yeah, that's why. And lastly, let me just ask your thoughts on Cuadras.
Es peleador experimentado, muy bueno, duro, pero yo también soy muy duro.
He's a very tough, good fighter, experienced, but I'm also a very good fighter.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now to your opponent from Mexico City, 38-3-1, former world champion Carlos Cuadras. Good to see you again. What does it mean to you? I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Bob said about that rivalry. You representing Mexico City here on Mexican Independence Day weekend.
¿Qué significa?
Bueno, me siento muy contento de estar aquí en la ciudad de Las Vegas, en una gran cartelera. Quiero agradecer a Top Rank, a Taken Promotion, al WBC que siempre me apoya y pues quiero que sepan que voy a tener una gran pelea. Vengo bien preparado, quiero volver a ser campeón mundial y ahora se pone José María Cardenas en el camino y nada más hay que despacharlo con lo que hice en el gimnasio y mira, aquí te tengo tu medicina, papá.
Can you translate that for us? Can you translate that for us, Bob?
He's very happy of being in a big card in Vegas. He wants to become a world champion again,
Yes.
and he's saying that he has his medicine for Cardenas in his punches.
Oh, really? I wanted you to do the punch thing too, when you translate that. Exactly. Does he feel like a win in this fight this weekend would get him back into the running to fight for another world title?
Sí, sin duda, yo quiero volver a ser campeón mundial y esta va a ser una gran plataforma. Cárdenas es un peleador duro que sin duda me va a dar el pase por un título mundial y pues esperemos que así sea. Ahora en las 115 libras tengo que volver a ser campeón.
Without a doubt, Cardenas is a great fighter. A win against him will put me in the title opportunity, and I'm just going to come here to take the W.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Zepeda Pedraza up next. Puerto Rico versus
Puerto Rico against Mexico. Can't be better than that.
Yep, we're going to Zepeda and Pedraza. I'll talk to you, Jose, first. Good to see you again. You have an opportunity to fight on a huge weekend here in Las Vegas, a big card in Tyson Fury and on Mexican Independence Day. You will obviously be representing the Mexico side in this fight. What does that mean to you? And at this point in your career, to stand up on this stage and to fight for, not only your family and your fans, but for Mexico on this weekend?
Well, it's an honor for me to be fighting in the Mexican Independence Day. I mean, I always see this day, big fighters, big Mexican fighters fighting on this day. And now it's my turn to represent, and especially against Puerto Rico. So I put all the work in the gym, and we're ready to give the fans a good fight and hopefully the best fight of the night.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are really excited about your fight. There's been a lot of buzz about your fight possibly stealing the show, and I think boxing fans are really excited to know that the matchup between you and Jose Pedraza. And I know that you know boxing and you watch your opponents, and although he was fighting at 135 pounds, he's kind of put out there that he'd be moving up to 140. So did you have any thoughts, and have you watched any film on Pedraza? What do you kind of know about him as an opponent?
Yeah, he's a very smart fighter. He likes to box. He has some speed, and yeah, we did watch him, some fights of him, but I believe I have the same thing. I'm a pretty smart fighter. I like to box, and I believe it's going to be an interesting fight, and see how it goes. Both of us are going to give all in the ring, and it's going to be a good fight.
Top Rank has another 140-pound world champion, Jose Ramirez. You put up a very, very good fight against him.
Not a good fight.
I said
He
a very, very good
gave
fight.
Ramirez his toughest fight.
That was an outstanding fight.
Yeah.
Although Ramirez is out for the rest of this year, healing a hand injury.
He'll be coming here.
Great.
Jose will be here for the fight.
Fantastic.
He's a great admirer of yours. You gave him a hell of a fight.
You want a rematch in that fight, don't you?
Yeah, hopefully if everything goes good, first I got to think about Pedraza. But yeah, there was a lot of talk about Ramirez and I, and a lot of people thought I won, a lot of people thought he won. It was for sure a close fight. If I win this fight, hopefully we can do a rematch. It's going to be interesting.
All right, I know that's what your team wants. So first things first, though, Pedraza, very tough task. So appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You want to say anything in Spanish?
Sí, a toda la gente mexicana, vamos a estar aquí, vamos a dar una buena pelea y esténse listos porque vamos a ganar.
Thank you so much. And we're going to go over now to the two-division world champion in Jose Pedraza. And here you go, moving up now to 140. We talked a little bit about it after your last fight. You kind of knew your body was ready to move up. Is that really what made you want to move up? Was it the weight, or is it the opportunities that are presented to you at 140 pounds?
En la última pelea hablamos sobre posiblemente subir de peso. ¿Subiste por el que no puedes dar las 135 ya, o fue por las oportunidades en 140?
No, definitivamente fue por las oportunidades que se me pueden presentar en esta nueva división. Tengo unas metas por recorrer, así que nos movemos por esos propósitos.
I move up in weight because of the opportunities that are presented at the 140 division. That's why we moved up.
Yeah, Bob talked about, the hell of a fight that he gave to Jose Ramirez. How about the hell of a fight that he gave to Lomachenko? That was an absolutely spectacular
Well,
performance.
yeah, he was in there with Loma, and you know how I feel about Loma being a great fighter. Well, Pedraza gave him hell, and the fight before that, he beat a Mexican, right, with Beltran. That was one of the fights of the year.
Right. So what would it mean to you now at 140 pounds? I would have to imagine your goal here is to be able to fight for another world title. What would it mean to you if you get that opportunity, if you get past Zepeda, to be a 3-division world champion for Puerto Rico?
¿Qué significaría para ti ser un campeón de 3 divisiones para Puerto Rico, ya que si fuiste campeón en 130, 135?
Sería algo bueno para mí, algo bueno para Puerto Rico. Sería una de las metas que trazaría en mi vida, así que sería un reto y una oportunidad para las futuras metas que tengo.
It will be great for me, it will be great for Puerto Rico, and that's one of my life goals, to become a 3-time world champion.
But first he has to get past Zepeda. His thoughts on Zepeda and what kind of performance that they're going to deliver on Saturday
Que
night.
antes de pelear por un título en 140 tienes que salir de la pelea con Zepeda.
Definitivamente. Así mismo, subo a una división nueva, con grandes retos, con boxeadores del calibre mundial, y de eso es lo que queremos buscar. Primero tenemos que pasar a José Zepeda para tener esa oportunidad mundial.
Definitely, we have to get one fight at a time. We know we are going up to a division where there's a lot of good fighters, world caliber fighters, and we have to take care of Zepeda first to get to that title opportunity.
All right, Pedraza Zepeda will be opening up the main portion of the card, 7 p.m., streaming live on ESPN+. And now to the next fight.
Before we do that, I really have to say something. This really moves me. I've been around a long time, and I realize how great contribution the Filipino people, the Filipino boxers have made to boxing. Now, those of you who are here now know the great contributions and the great Manny Pacquiao and what he accomplished. But before Manny Pacquiao, long before Manny Pacquiao, the first Filipino to win a world championship was the legendary Flash Elorde. He was the icon that every fighter, including Manny Pacquiao, wanted to model himself after. We have on this card his grandson, Juan Miguel. And Juan Miguel Elorde is not only the grandson of Flash Elorde, but a fighter who has made the Philippines proud with his accomplishments. And in honor of that, we've made a picture, a print of a famous painting that the great artist Leroy Neiman, who did Ali and all the great boxers, and we're going to present this print now to his Flash Elorde, to his grandson, Juan Miguel.
I brought you a gift. I mean, we'll start right there. What does it mean to you? I mean, to be up here sitting next to Bob Arum, to be fighting here in Las Vegas, knowing the history of what your grandfather and your family name means to boxing. How excited are you for this opportunity?
First of all, I'd like to thank Top Rank and of course Mr. Bob Arum for this opportunity. It's a big opportunity, a great experience for me, so I'd like to grab it and thank everyone for giving me this chance.
Yeah, and you got this chance on 3 weeks notice, because that's all the time that we had to make the fight between Navarrete and yourself. So what was that moment like? You're at the gym, you're training, are you already in camp, or you're just kind of hanging out and they say, hey, you ready to fight for a world title in 3 weeks?
Yeah, we're ready because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So when they called, we really accepted the challenge. So because every boxer wants to be a world champion, and this is for me the opportunity.
Yeah, and those fighters that have that mentality, I mean, you're always in shape, you always stay in the gym, you always stay ready for that call. That's what you hope to get. What would it mean for you and the Elorde family, the legacy, to have another world champion? What would that mean to the Philippines and to your family and for your grandfather?
Of course, like what I said, this is my dream to become a world champion, and I think it's coming to reality. So thank you, Mr. Bob ARUM.
All right, well, in order for your dreams to become reality, you have to get past this man right here, in Emanuel Navarrete.
Let me talk how Emanuel ended up here.
Yeah.
Right? Last month, you remember, in Baga, California, arena, great soccer stadium downtown in LA, next to USC and the Coliseum, this young man was the main event. And after his fight, where he dispatched his opponent in 3 rounds, it occurred to me that maybe we could convince him to fight on this very important Mexican Independence Day weekend. So I talked with Fernando Beltran, and we got into the ring, and we asked Emanuel, would he be ready to fight on Independence Day? And the answer came quicker than your punch. Like in 5 seconds, he said, absolutely, Mexican Independence Day.
But in Spanish.
I'm not gonna celebrate this victory. I'm going into the gym. I wanna fight on that weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a
Here we
great
are.
warrior.
Yes.
Great warrior.
And Bob, kind of like what you said yesterday, right? A throwback type of fighter, where these guys didn't take, 2 fights a year. They fought, 2 times a month if they could have the chance, the opportunity. It's not unforeseen in boxing that someone...
If you're a fighter and you're fighting just for the money, then you want to fight as infrequently as possible, as long as the money is good for the fights that you do. If you're a fighter, you want to fight as much as possible. This kid here, if he could, his injuries and so forth, would fight 8 times a year and be happy, right? Ocho.
Yes. Absolutely, we're working on that word next. So you have your belt here, you're making another title defense of your 122-pound WBO title. As Bob said, I mean, we're talking in the ring after the fight and they say, are you ready to go? What is in your mentality that makes you say, I'm ready, put me on the card 3 weeks later?
Cuando estábamos en la cartelera hace 3 semanas, te dieron en el ring, ¿quieres pelear el fin de independencia mexicana? Dijiste que sí. ¿Cuál fue la mentalidad en ese momento?
Pues yo creo que fue como mucha impresión, pero también sabíamos que era un reto importante y la mentalidad fue como ir a entrenar más duro, más fuerte para dar una buena exhibición de esta fecha importante, ¿no?
I was very surprised, but I knew it was a great opportunity, so we took it. And my mentality was that I had to train even harder, not take a long break, because we knew the big opportunity that was in front of him.
Yeah, he didn't have time to take a long break. It was only 3 weeks ago. You think he took a day off, he said, and got right back in the gym. Could you sum up what this last year has been like for you? I mean, you burst onto the scene after beating Dog Bay, you defend that title, you beat Divac, and now here you are fighting on Mexican Independence Day weekend in a fight that is, right underneath Tyson Fury's main event. Can you even put into words what this last year has been like for you?
Si puedes poner en palabras como si este año para ti, le ganaste a Dog Bay, le ganaste el título, luego defendiste el título en la revancha, le ganaste a Divac y ahora estás aquí en una cartelera grande debajo de Tyson Fury. ¿Qué significa para ti este último año?
Pues la verdad le agradezco mucho al señor Bob ARUM que me está apoyando mucho respecto a las peleas, ¿no? Me da la oportunidad con Isaac Dope, se viene la revancha, todos saben qué pasó, ¿no? viene la pelea con Francisco de Vaca, por cualquier razón hizo la función, sale todo muy bien y ahora me pone en la pelea, en la semana de la Independencia de México. Estoy más que agradecido, motivado, contento y pues si peleo en diciembre también no tengo problema, estoy muy contento y agradecido, de verdad. Yo voy a brindarme el fin de semana pues para que vean que realmente hago bien las cosas, estoy entrenando bien, me cuido, me preparo para no estar peleando nada más por cumplir, ¿no?
First of all, I want to thank Bob for the opportunity he had given me. He gave me the opportunity to fight for a world title against Duckbait, then the rematch, then the Vaca. Now I'm here in a big card. I just want to tell him that if he lets me, I'm going to fight in December too.
He's ready.
And I'm just going to give it my all and show everyone that I'm doing things the right way.
I know Bob is the one that sets the plans, but if you could have your wish, I would have to imagine a unification fight is something that you would like to go for next. Is that correct?
Bob es el que hace el plan, pero si te dejan hacer lo que tú deseas, te gustaría una pelea unificatoria.
Claro que sí, yo quiero hacerlo lo mejor que pueda dentro de mis posibilidades en 122 y pues sabemos que lo mejor en una división es unificarla toda, ¿no? Entonces, si se puede y mi cuerpo me da la posibilidad de marcar 122 hasta que lo podamos lograr, estaría perfecto y si no, pues también tenemos bastante carrera por delante.
I want to do my best at 122 and the biggest thing in a division is to unify title. As long as my body permits it, I'm going to stay here and I want to unify titles, but if not, I'm going to move up and I have a great career in front of me.
Yeah, it's how much longer can you make 22,
and the
right?
one of the other 122-pound champion, the WBC champion, Vargas, is coming to this fight. Yeah.
No, pues gracias por traerlo para que vea lo que se va a enfrentar, ¿no?
Thank you for bringing him so he can see what he's going to face.
Yeah, people watch me, right? Well, Bob, that just about wraps it up. Let me give
I
a
got
couple
something
quick
to say
details.
before
Wait,
you-
no, me, no. Go ahead, Bob.
All right, look. I want everybody here to read an article I read this morning. It was in the London Telegraph. Our friend Gareth Davies wrote it. It's an interview with Tyson Fury. It's must reading for everybody who's here on this weekend. And in essence, what Tyson Fury has said, just to summarize it, is that Tyson Fury, is an outsider because he's a gypsy, a traveler. And travelers have been discriminated against in the UK and in Europe for centuries. So he understands what an outsider is. And that's why he so identifies with Mexicans. Mexicans in this country have been mistreated horribly, horribly. They're hard-working people. They work in the fields, they work in the factories, they work to support themselves and their families, and we have treated them by and large terribly, terribly, with the dreamers not giving them a road to citizenship, with the workers in the field in the Central Valley who do what Americans of other backgrounds won't do because it's such hard work, picking the fruit and so forth. Mexicans have made a great contribution to this country, and the way we've treated them and demonized them is disgraceful. And I say this really because I can identify with that. You know, at the turn of the century, around the Second World, before the First World War, there were people in this country from various states that felt that the country was changing because so many Jews and Eastern Europeans were coming into the country. We know the stories of Ellis Island. So they passed quotas that discriminated against Jews in Eastern Europe, Italians, anybody that wasn't Nordic European. And as a result of that, when the Second World War was starting, or right before, hundreds and thousands of Jews were turned away from this country only to be sent back to concentration.
Once the opportunity arose for him to close the show, he did it in emphatic style.
Whatever he hits falls.